Well, hey friends, and welcome back. Today I want to share with you my minimalist makeup collection. I want to walk you through the products that I have, how I use them, and kind of what that looks like as a part of my daily makeup routine. Makeup is really one area where I like to keep things pretty minimal. I usually will just keep one of each type of product that I use, and then I'll just replace it whenever it runs out. And when I find something I like, I stick to it for years. So the collection, the routine that I want to share with you today is really just the culmination of years worth of experimenting with different beauty products. With that in mind, let's dive right into this. We'll start with a fresh face and I'll walk you through all the makeup products that I have as well as my routine. All right, well, let's get started. I'm just chilling here on the floor in my bedroom by my mirror. This is where I normally like to do my makeup. Normally I just keep everything in this bag here. I tuck it behind the mirror when I'm not using it, and then I can easily pull it out when I'm ready to get started. Then the first product that I like to go in with is this Universal Tinted Moisturizer with SPF 46 from Dermatology. And this is actually probably the most recent product in my makeup collection. I recently was looking for a moisturizer with SPF and heard really good things about this one. Decided to give it a try a couple of months ago and I've really been loving it. I've used tinted moisturizers in the past, but I think this is the first one I've used with SPF and I really love it. I use about 2 pumps of it and just try to lightly spread it over my skin. Usually I just apply this with my hands. It's typically what I find I prefer the most. And I will try to obviously reapply sunscreen if I'm going to be out in the sun for extended periods of time during the day, but just as kind of a good SPF base, I really enjoy this. We'll bring it a bit down to my neck. I really like that this feels just very lightweight. My skin has really been loving it. I haven't broken out or anything at all, which I really appreciate. I had been using a moisturizer previously that broke me out pretty bad, so really loving this stuff. That's step one, really love a good multi-use product. And next I like to go in with a bit of concealer. This is the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape Concealer in the shade 22N, so light neutral. I like to use this primarily under my eyes just to cover any dark circles. And then also I have some kind of like acne remnants down here that I like to use just a little bit of, and then I'll often also kind of outline just the shape of my lips very lightly in concealer. I know this kind of looks really funny, but I like to do that because I find that the kind of place where my lip color ends and my skin kind of surrounding it begins can be very indistinguishable sometimes. And so I like to use concealer just to make it so that there's kind of like a hard contrast between where my lip ends and my mouth area begins. I don't know how to say that. And then again, obviously covering some little spots and then under my eyes. And you can kind of already see I do kind of use a combination of just using my fingers as well as I have a little beauty blender here that I'll just kind of use to give everything a bit of a diffused look. I'm just going to pull this out so I can see a bit better. I find that I typically like to use my fingers kind of around my face, but then I'll go in with this beauty blender towards my eye area and then just to kind of like diffuse everything at the end. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm not trying to completely cover my face, but I do like to just kind of reduce the appearance of any red spots, dark circles, and all of that. Then one more face product. This is a Neutralizing Mineral Mattifier in the shade 1 from Pacifica. This is something that I don't use every day, but on days where either I'm filming, going to have a lot of pictures taken, or I'm just going to be out for a long time and it's a bit hotter, I'm going to be sweating. This is something that I like to put on just a bit of, and it gives you just a bit more of like a matte vibe to your makeup. To apply this, I just use this little brush from Eco Tools, and then I usually just pat this kind of gently onto my T-zone. So cheeks, nose, a little bit on my forehead, and a bit on my chin. So just about like that. This is something that I've been using for years now. I think I've gone through like 6 or 7 of these, and it's just one of those like auto repurchases for me. So this is kind of my blank slate face, but next I usually like to go in and add back a bit of color. To do that, I like to use what is by far my biggest product. This is the Tarte Clay Play Volume 2. It's an eye and cheek palette, and what I love about this is it's just a very multifunctional product. So looking at it, you can see that I've had it pan on a couple of the eyeshadows, but you have kind of like 3 different configurations or options for different eyeshadows. Then you also have a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter, and I love that it's just all in one. These are colors that I love and reach for all the time. So I just found this to be another just very multifunctional product. So to finish off my face, depending on how made up I'm wanting to look in a given day, I might use 1, 2, or all 3 of these products. I would say probably my default though, and I'm just using I think this is another EcoTools angled brush. My default though is probably just to go in with a little bit of blush, just kind of on it's called the apple of your cheek, right? Obviously, I enjoy makeup, but I'm definitely not an expert. But I'll just go in with a little bit of blush, kind of blending that out and kind of trying to follow my cheekbone. So I would say that is kind of my everyday look. This is probably what I do most of the time when I'm filming videos. Occasionally though, if I'm getting ready for a wedding, a special event, or I'm just trying to experiment, have a bit more fun with my makeup, I'll often go in with the highlighter too and a bit of the bronzer. I do find that the bronzer is a little bit dark for my skin tone, so normally when I do that, I usually have to blend it out pretty intensely just to make sure that it feels natural. I think today I'm going to stick with just the blush though. I want to show you all kind of what my everyday makeup looks like. I would say probably like 80% of days, I'm usually just going in with the blush. The other 2 we save for special occasions. And we'll come back to that palette in a second when we do our eyes, but next in my makeup routine, I usually like to do my eyebrows. There are just 2 products I use here. The first is this Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade medium brown. You can see it's just a little twist up pencil. I really find that this works well for filling in my eyebrows. The color match on this thing is pretty much perfect with my natural brow color, and it really does just help to give them a bit more shape and fills them in some of the spots that they're a bit more patchy. I'm actually just going to turn here, use the big mirror so that I can properly see what I'm doing. So I like to fill in my brow, and then I'll just use this spoolie on the other end to shape it. And this is kind of the difference that it makes. This is the brow that I have done. This is the one that I haven't. You can see this one still feels very natural, but just feels a bit better groomed. So let me do the other one quickly. Okay, then once I'm pretty happy with how my brows look, I'll just go in with this clear brow gel just to set everything in place. This thing has just kind of like a mascara-like spoolie. Helps keep everything in place. Okay, but now it's time for my favorite part of my makeup routine, doing my eyes. My eyes have always been kind of like my favorite feature, and so I love just being able to use makeup to really accentuate them and just to kind of have fun playing them off a bit. So coming back to this Tarte palette, I'll just use this and then a couple EcoTools brushes that I have to really create a very simple eyeshadow look. Normally what I'll do is I'll start by going in with Solstice, which is the lightest color. I'll just do the inner corner of my eye. I love how that just kind of adds a little bit of brightening to it. I think it kind of opens up the eye as well. Then next I'll use the flatter eyeshadow brush and go in with Sand, which is still a very light shade, and I'll just kind of like gently line my eyelid with that. And I really like keeping things pretty light, pretty neutral when it comes to eyeshadow. I feel like it definitely adds something, but I don't on a daily basis like going for a super dramatic look. So I'll go in with very light colors and kind of try to make it look like beautiful natural shading, like kind of everything is hitting with just the perfect shadow or something like that. That's kind of the vibe that I try to go for. But yeah, we'll just go in on both eyelids with this. You can tell these are the 2 colors that I use the most often because I've hit pan on them well before everything else. Then switching back to the Rander brush, I'll go in with Instinct, which again is just gradually we're getting 1 shade darker, and I'll do kind of the crease in my eye. I'll go in with that, and this is what I think really creates that beautiful natural shaded effect. Then the rest of these colors, the darker shades and sparkles, I really just save for special occasions. You can tell especially with this one right here, Smoke, I've almost hit pan on, but for me at least, they're just a little bit much for what I want on a daily basis. Okay, but then we're down to the final few steps here. To complete my eyes, I usually like to go in with eyeliner and mascara. The eyeliner that I use is this 24/7 Urban Decay Glide On Eye Pencil in the color Demolition. This is easily the oldest makeup product that I've just been continually rebuying. I think I started using this close to 10 years ago. That's how much I love it. I've tried other eye pencils in the past and none of them really compares to this one, so I just keep going back to it. I love this shade because it is pretty much exactly the color of my natural eyelashes, so the overall effect of it is definitely a bit more natural. What I like to do is I just like to go in and lightly outline my lower lashes first. I find that that just gives the impression of a thicker lash line, which is good because I do have very fine eyelashes. And I need 2 hands for this, so we're gonna go into the bigger mirror again. But what I like to do with my upper lash line is, again, we're just going to lightly line it. So this is what they look like 90% line. The last thing that I'll do is just take the pencil and kind of flick it out a tiny bit at the end to create kind of like a bit of a cat eye. Nothing really, you know, dramatic, but almost following my lash line. I just want to kind of bring out that eyeliner just a little bit. I think it really creates a beautiful shape of the eye. So I'll do that now, just following my lash line, pulling it out a bit. So there we go. It's pretty subtle, but it just kind of like lifts the eye visually, just a little bit. Then we'll just finish with going in with some mascara. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. And I'll be honest, this stuff is pretty pricey, but I really find that it's worth it personally. It is easily the best mascara that I've used. The spooling on this thing really is perfect, and I just love the amount of volume you can get from this mascara. I do usually like to put mascara on both my upper and lower lashes, but if I'm being honest, I put a lot more mascara on my upper lashes than I do my lower ones. Something else I like about this mascara is it's very buildable. So I usually go in with probably like 2 to 3 coats of this, just kind of separating my lashes as I go. Okay, upper lashes are done. We'll end with the bottom ones, going in with usually just one pretty light coat here. Add a little bit of darkness to them. Then we're pretty much ready. I just like to complete the look with putting on a little lip product. The essential for me here is a bit of lip balm. I always like to go in with that first. This is the Burt's Bees lip balm in the classic scent, and it really is my favorite. It does a great job of making sure that my lips don't get chapped, which is definitely something that I struggle with. And I just have 2 lip products. I'll usually go in with one or the other unless we're getting it real fancy. And the first is this Essence Semi-Matte Lipstick in the shade 03 Bold. This is a beautiful, very neutral lipstick that almost perfectly matches my natural lip color. I love that it doesn't really dry my lips out. So on dressier occasions, this is typically what I opt for. But then more on a daily basis, I'll often just apply lip gloss. The one that I have is the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. And again, this is a super natural color. This one is, I'd say, just a bit darker than my natural lip color, but I really like it because kind of gives a like your lips but better vibe to it, as well as, you know, just a little bit of that gloss, which personally I really like because my natural lip color is fairly uneven, so this just kind of evens things out, adds a bit of shine. That's really it. That is my everyday makeup routine. The products that I use, as you can tell from the fact that my makeup bag is now empty, I've just been getting things out as I go. Also, mind the fact that my bag is super gross. I really need to wash this. But I really love just being able to have a simple routine, you know, start to finish. This probably takes me between 5 to 10 minutes when I'm not filming to do. I love that the effect is fairly natural while still allowing me to enhance some of my favorite features. So I really hope that you enjoyed this look into my makeup collection, that it maybe gave you some ideas, some inspiration on how you might be able to get by with less when it comes to your makeup. I know that personally, my makeup collection used to be several times the size that it is now, and I've really benefited from just paring down to the essentials. So hopefully this can motivate you to do the same. As always though, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye!